Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's a screenshot. It's been a while. I haven't been doing this. Well, because I've been busy. In a nutshell, personal life got in the way and I moved a bunch, and here I am with internet and ready to go. So, welcome back to Discourse Fridays, continuing at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And wow, what a world, right? So much has happened since July, since our last video. And this is still a thing. Could you imagine why this is the thing? We have the vaccine. We've had it for months, almost a year now. And it seems people are hesitant to get it. And you know what I say to those people? Okay. See, there's too much conflict. When you're trying to force people to do something they don't want to do, they're not going to do it. That's basic stuff. If you tell a child not to do something or to stop doing something, they're going to want to keep doing it because they're human, right? And they're not educated in the way to understand why we're telling them not to do that. Like, don't jump in the pool, don't jump in the deep end. Why are we telling a child not to jump in the deep end? Because they don't know how to swim and they're going to drown. And then they'll die, right? So what do? We have lifeguards. And also, watch your kids. We get floaties and all this other stuff. But the fact that we're months in, not into this pandemic, well over a year for that, pushing on 2. The fact that we are months in, almost a year, with a vaccine that can help mitigate the effects of the virus killing you. That's the big thing. You will die, right? The reason we don't have measles running amok or polio, right? Remember the iron lung? Remember those things? Freaking took out FDR because he had polio. Like, understand that modern medicine advances, right? Like the other day, they now have a vaccine for malaria. You know how huge that is for the continent of Africa? So many countries in that continent, so many countries in Africa suffer from malaria, from mosquitoes, a bug bite, right? But thanks to all the advancements in vaccines over decades of research, we now have a vaccine for COVID. We have a vaccine for malaria. We have vaccines for measles, for what else? I'm getting this shot again. I'm blanking on the name. Um, but so many medicines, so many vaccines, right? Everyone's worried about vaccine passports. Look up the history of Ellis Island, or Angel Island, what they did to immigrants coming to this country. All colors, right? Because all colors matter. But nonetheless, like it's crazy to me because here we are with something that can help save your life in the long run, right? And like, oh, if I can still get it, okay. You can wear condoms and she can still get pregnant. Like, nothing in this world is absolute, What is it besides like death and taxes, right? So, like, what should we do to the people who are hesitant or unwilling to get the vaccine? First of all, treat them like a human being, right? And ask them questions. Why are you hesitant? Oh, because it's going to make me sterile. That's not true. Oh, because they're going to chip me and watch me. You already have a phone? That's not true. Right? Be a place of discourse where you can mitigate their misinformation. Because they're getting it from Facebook, from Instagram. They're getting it from Fox News. Let's be honest, you know? Like, how many times does Tucker Carlson have to say, "We can't verify this, but I that sounds right to me." If you can't verify it, then it's not true. You're not a journalist, right? Like freaking The Daily Show is better at finding true stuff out, you know. And I think that's what makes me laugh, especially back even from high school. So when Jon Stewart was the host of the Daily Show, I never really was super into it, but I would watch it here and there because it came on after South Park, and it would start catching my attention as I got older because I became more aware of politics and more involved in what's happening in my community and around the world. And especially with John Oliver's last week tonight, hence the welcome, welcome, welcome when I start each video for the most part. You learn so much from comedians, people who are making jokes of what's happening in the world. Now, why is it that I am learning more about what's happening in the world from a comedian than my news channel? Well, it's because I trust them. There's that level of trust. Like Dave Chappelle spoke on this. Like, why are you listening to me? But I understand. It's because you trust me. I never lie to you. You know, the news lies to us. And we have several agencies like Fox News who just consistently lie to us. So it's infuriating. So I know, like, for me, for example, I have currently family members and even coworkers who are like refusing to get the vaccine. When they start jabbling on stuff that's not true, I correct them, you know? And at the end of the day, it is their life, their body, their choice. However, if they're not willing to do what's best for themselves, and more importantly, what's best for the community, because we have a virus that has killed over 700,000 people, they got to live with that, you know? If they're walking around being embryos for this virus to continue to mutate, they have to understand that. I'm tired of these testimonies of people saying, "Oh, I should have gotten the vaccine. This is terrible. Oh my God, my lungs, save me." No, fuck you. like that's it. Like, you made a choice. You got to live with it, and it sucks because we have. Not only that, like, what gets me as well is that it's free. This vaccine is free. We want free healthcare. Here's free healthcare on a silver platter. And people are saying no. And I think that, again, is the beauty of providing free healthcare, is that you'll still have people say no. And that's fine, you know? Because as humans, we should want to care for one another and heal one another and make sure we each survive, right? And are better for the next ones, right? And I feel like we got to get rid of the whole like golden age of the 50s or like that kind of moniker. Because at the end of the day, what happened a lot is capitalism took full force even into the family life. Everyone became so idealistic and so individualistic that by the time the next generations came along, like X and Y or whatever you want to call them, millennials, we basically perfected or bettered what they were already doing. And then they had the audacity to call us selfish, right? It's similar to like when Dave Chappelle made that point, you know? They enslaved African Americans in the United States and then turned around and called them lazy. Are you kidding me? Like, do we not see the trend? Do we not see what's happening? It's benign, like, or, you know, it's asinine. I don't even know if I'm using that word right, honestly. English was never my best subject. But history was. You want to know what a pandemic can do to the world? Look 100 years ago to the Spanish flu. You know? Look back then, look what polio did. Look what the measles did. Look what even recently with Ebola. Remember that? There's so many sicknesses and diseases out there. And we are slowly but surely figuring out how to live past them. Think about it. When your knees used to go out or your back used to blow out, that was it. You just kind of walked with a hunch. Like, that was your life. But now we have corrective surgeries. We have physical therapists who understand the body better, who can tell you how to stretch, right? Who can tell you how to strengthen your body to live longer, what to eat right, you know? Because for so long, those TV dinners full of sodium. How many heart attacks are in this country every year? But nonetheless, we all know somebody who's hesitant to get the vaccine. And you know what? Fine. Be hesitant. Because there's going to come a time in this country, and I'm calling it out, just like I called out how freaking Biden was going to have one or the other mess up, whether it be domestic or foreign policy, right? Because that foreign policy in Afghanistan, we'll talk about that later. But there's going to come a time where this vaccine's not going to be free. And those powers that be are going to profit off of it. Because that's what this country does in the context of capitalism. And it's sad. Because we should just simply care for one another and simply listen to each other. So if to your family member or your friend or your coworker who's like, oh, I'm not going to get the vaccine, listen to them why. And when they start talking nonsense or talking things that aren't true, question them. Where did you hear that? Where did you read that? Who did you talk to that told you that information? How do they know? And that's what it comes down to, is like that uncertainty, because it seemed like it came out of nowhere, but it really didn't. Science is always evolving. You know? Like, how can you still be hesitant to take the damn vaccine? It blows mine, you know? And you have to come from a place of listening, because that could be it too. Like, some people, like, I have people in my life who are, again, hesitant or saying they're straight up not or ever gonna get the vaccine. And I'm like, okay, I know who I'm not bringing over to my wedding, you know, or like near my grandma. I know who I'm not chilling with people that I care about. I got the vaccine. I feel fine. I'll chill with you. You take our mask? Sure. It is what it is. Because I know if I get the virus, there's a better chance that I'll survive. Because I got the vaccine. I know if you get the virus, there's a better chance you'll die. And that sucks. And that sucks a lot. But for me personally, I've also come to terms with that as well. If you don't want to prolong your life, fine. You're still going to live your life. You're still going to do what you want to do, you know. Hopefully it's full of eating healthy, working out, you know. And I want to talk, I'm a chubby guy. But with all this talk of health, you know, things turn around, you know. People often make the biggest changes when faced with challenges, right? And in time, this virus, we're going to have an echo virus or whatever's after Delta. Like, we're going to just keep going down the line to Sigma, to Zeta. Viruses mutate. That's science, you know? Things adapt. If you develop a cure or something that could kill something, they adapt, you know? You ever seen the rats in New York City? They adapt. They know their life. You could drag down a whole pizza down into the subway to feed their babies. And then it becomes a meme or a Halloween costume. And again, in this country, because of capitalism, now we make Halloween costumes out of them. I'm not going to be surprised we're going to see a bunch of people dressing up like the Squid Game, because apparently that's a big thing now. And here you have basically a similar scenario. We have a game where It's simple rules, you know? Like one of the infamous games that's going around right now on TikTok and all this other stuff is freaking red light, green light. A game you play when you're a kid. And in this movie or the show, whatever, people are dying by the masses for moving during a game of red light, green lights. Come on. It's child's play, literally. And honestly, if you don't want to get the vaccine, you are going to stick gun ho with it, you know? Wear your mask. Protect yourself. And more importantly, protect those around you. Because how do you know if you have the virus? Got to get that nasal thing up your nose and get it tested, right? And that sucks. But that's a reality of how to test it, right? Until things change. You don't know if you're harboring that virus. You don't know if you're passing it on to your friends or loved ones or to somebody's grandma or baby, you know? And then we have these politicians kind of pick sides. And the amazing thing you learn about working with the government is the Hatch Act, where it's against your job to make opinions that are one way or the other. You got to stay neutral. You know, you speak facts and call it a day. Whatever you believe, you got to nod your head and say that's interesting. Yet, the people who are politicians who kind of run the government don't abide by that. But people who work in the government do. Yeah. But what a world we live in, where you can choose to potentially harm the masses. You can choose to put the health of others, loved ones, at risk. And it's heartbreaking. And I truly feel like if we had more community leaders or like holistic communities, people who genuinely cared about their neighbors and genuinely cared about their communities, felt connected to their communities, I think things would be different. And I know it's hard because so many of us move around. Like, again, hence why I've been gone, moving around. And it's hard to connect to a community you don't feel attached to or you did not grow up in. Or even when you move when you're a kid, you know? Like, I moved to Yonkers when I was in, like, 3rd grade, and I still say I'm from the Bronx. Because from birth up until 3rd grade, that's my home. You know? And even, like, on the weekends, I still went to the Bronx with my grandma. It's just heartbreaking because we have so much opportunity to do good. Yet we let it fall to the wayside over independence, over this notion that the government's going to watch us, the government's going to kill. The government doesn't even know who you are. You know? Facebook knows more about you than the government. And when Facebook shut down, you know, a lot of information trees got cut. Yeah. To me, it's just talk to people. Listen to what they're hesitant about. Listen to what they're scared about. We all have fears. We all have fears. That's what it boils down to. This fear of uncertainty. This fear of what if. So listen to them. And politely correct them. You can't force people to do what they don't want to do. But if you get into a point where they can acknowledge how stupid they're being or how ridiculous their thoughts or research is on the vaccine, and they still are gun ho about it. Let that turkey swim, you know. And another thing is, with so many people, this I think is my big battle with this whole big hesitancy thing. With all the people saying, "Do your research," you know, with all the people saying, "I don't feel comfortable. I got to do my research." Where is it? It's been months. It's been well over a year of COVID. We all were inside. Many of us lost our jobs. Many of us lost our livelihoods. You know, where is your research? Where's your published paper? Where is your documentary series? Where is your true life COVID story? Where is it? Because you got nothing. You would just talk yabba jabbing. Like, show me what you got. You know? Because at this point, so many of us have gotten the vaccine and we still here. Even when they get COVID after getting the vaccine, they are still here. They're not a part of the 700,000 people who died. 9/11, never forget. That was barely 3,000 people. As messed up as that sounds, that's a reality. This virus has taken out almost 1 million people. It's getting there. And that's just in the United States. That sucks. So, if you're doing your research, share it with the world. If, get it vetted, go through a whole process of, doctors who will review and test your findings. Go the whole distance, go the whole 9 yards. Show us what you got, prove us all wrong. Because if it turns out that we're all going to start turning into zombies and be mind controlled or whatever, show me that dystopian future. Or maybe we just watched a little bit too much Terminator when we were kids. Or too much of these 90s and 80s action dramas of despots, When we literally had a despot kind of lead a freaking charge of the Capitol on January 6th. People don't want to talk about that. And how many of them are not even getting charged. Again, a video for another time. But if you're hesitant, why? What is it? Is it because you don't know enough? Tell me what's in McDonald's. Tell me what's in Goya products. Tell me what's in pizza. Tell me what's in your phone, right? Because remember, people were burning down 5G towers, and now everybody's joking about, oh, my phone got 5G. Thankfully, enough people stopped burning down those towers. Yeah. But listen to one another. Stop with the infighting, and let's move forward as a society. Let's show each other that we care and that we're there for them. And to everyone who's hesitant, show your research. Show me what you got, or show whoever what you got. Do your own discourse Friday. I'll get you on here. I'll give you a minute. But do what's best for yourself. Do what's best for your community. Do what's best for those around you. Do what's best for your fellow man and woman and other. Stop with this constant attacking of other, or you do this, you that. We could talk it out and you could see what you sound like. talking about chips and infertility and all this other nonsense. I don't know, man. But nonetheless, Discourse Fridays, we're back, 8 o'clock every Friday. Hope to see you all joining in, and let's have some discourse. Let's talk about stuff that's happening in the world, and we'll see you next Friday. Deuces.